Ars longa vita brevis. I'm Greger Olsson, and you are here at the Olsson Art Collection and in what we call the church. We will have a closer look at some of the masterpieces here to give you an idea of what we have in the core of our collection, which is the contemporary Latin American art collection. Let's start with this installation here by the late Elba Damast from Venezuela. In the 1980s, she did a lot of house installations in museums in South, Central and North America. This is one of the installations that we took over to Sweden and showed at the Landskrona Konsthall in 1989. The concept of the house is to have the house with a soul. In this case, and in this version, the soul of the house is other houses. Later, Elba expanded this into a lot of various things, among them hearts. And then at one point, Elba said, well, what is the meaning with the house? The house has a soul, and the meaning must be the soul of the house. So the heart grew bigger and bigger, and finally she skipped the house and she devoted herself to the heart. Just behind this house we will see some of the heart paintings that she did when she walked into this new concept. We have what to some of you is a familiar view, this bronze sculpture, which is not in its original size. This is a copy of Giambologna's marble sculpture, The Rape of the Sabines, which you will find in the Uffizis in Florence. I bought this at an auction here in Scandinavia, and I gave it to our artist Carlos Capellan, born in Uruguay, based all over the world, right now based in Sweden, but still traveling the world. And Carlos said to me, what am I supposed to do with this? And I answered him, I don't know, I'm not the artist. So Carlos took the sculpture home, thought about it, and I think something like a year later, he came back with this. He interpreted the sculpture in his own way by covering it with oil paint. This concept is not new. You could see, for example, just recently at the Gagosian Gallery in London, where Glenn Brown did the same thing with a couple of sculptures that he found or got from Gagosian, I don't know. Anyway, that is what Carlos did, and he also did his typical writing, etching, which you could see on the sculpture, and then on stationery papers, he drew, commented on the legend of the rape of the Sabines. And here you will find drawings that are connected to the old legend. You will find the twins Romulus Remus, for example, and other comments. So this 66 drawings all in all, together with the sculpture itself, we think creates a nice, very thoughtful and interesting installation with historical views. Sculpture section, or where we have a lot of sculptures. This here, Raúl Conti from Argentina. Raúl is now in his 80s, but he is, I would even say, better than ever. Still true to his concept craft and very good at what he's doing. This is a sculpture with a figure that we will see later coming from his world of painting. And this sculpture, which is made totally out of wood, there is no element of nails or anything, iron, whatever. It's completely done by wood. His son, Raúl Conti, also then of course from Argentina, is working in a different way. He has his bronze sculptures, as you will see here, a couple of different examples, and this here is very interesting. This is from his fairly recent series of shelters. When you look closely into this shelter, you will find some pattern in the sculpture itself. And you will also find some marble and legs. And when you've come through the question, what the hell is this? You could see that this is a French 1900th century piece of furniture that he bought and then simply chopped up. So this is the intarsia from the front, still with the pattern intact. This is the top, marble top, that was on the piece, and the legs where the piece was standing. Raoul has done different kinds of different sizes of these shelters. I'm coming back to the heart paintings by Elba. This is an interesting painting which consists of 25 paintings put into one, still with the heart as the symbol in all of the 25 paintings. And this is more or less a real heart, or at least an anatomic heart. But as you will see, she has added her own special things in this, which makes it a very interesting painting. On up here, you can see two larger paintings from the same series, where she's dealing with the heart as a subject in another way, but still very concentrated, very realistic, very good painting. And we will pass by the carpet collection or rug collection, where we are specializing especially in these rugs showing leaders from the old Persian kingdoms. These particular here are from Keshan and made in the late 1900s, early 20th. So they are more than 100 years old, but you can see the quality is there, the colors are there, and you can still walk on them, no problemas, they will not be affected. Very good quality. But that is another collection. Let's get back to the Latin American one. Here you can see another example of Farco's sculpture. Also here, the same thing, the furniture is cut up. Here the marble top is placed in another way. You still have the decoration, and here you also have had some liquid aluminum that is being cast over to keep it together, and also the legs are supported extra with aluminum legs. There are also two other shelters here in different forms, both of them in birch from a local tree in Argentina. The same here, another birch sculpture, a large bronze sculpture, once again with the torso, with the head turned upside down on the figure. We are going back to, as I promised, Raoul Conti and his figures. There are two paintings, larger paintings from a series that we commissioned some 20 years ago, but still very good, very distinct. And what I especially like with these paintings is that he is working with the perspectives. And you can see he's fooling the viewer with laying one perspective on top of another, beside another, in front of another. So when you look at the whole painting, it gets a kind of mythical feeling and a mythical overall setting. And there you have his big figures, but also when you look closer into it, you have his old, what you will see in a lot of paintings, also in sculptures. You will see these pre-Columbian finger things, the construction of a boat in the way it was done in the old pre-Columbian days. Another here with some of the old instruments, the pan flute. It shows he's a very good painter with a very good knowledge of his background and the history of his country. Here is another example of his wooden sculptures, another big one, produced in the same way, no nails, no nothing, just plain wood. Look at it. It's a beautiful thing, and it's, even though it's in dead wood, it looks like the figure is really living and talking to you, maybe even waving at you. There you have, as I said, the owl coming back here. Here is a very large sculpture, also by Raoul Farco, made from Carrara marble. As you might be seeing around here, the concept with the man and something at his back, this typical yin-yang thing, is made in different sizes, it was a subject that Raoul did and worked with some 20 years ago. This is the biggest one we have. Speaking of Raoul coming back, Raoul also designed furniture. You will see the table here. You will see the big lamp up there. And here is a small example of his shelters. This one, you will be surprised to find out, this one is made in obsidian. So it's a nice little, more or less jewel, based on both on the concept but also on the uniqueness of the stone. It's very seldom that you see a sculpture made in obsidiana in this size.